This video I'd like to state that there's a difference between starting your own thing when you're overqualified and a difference between starting your own thing because you're underqualified. I want to bring this up specifically for the martial arts, but it applies to all aspects of life. But in regards to the martial arts, it's even more prevalent because the martial arts is very much unrestricted in the way that people express themselves because it's supposed to be an art. But clearly there are going to be artists that are truly great artists and then people that are just not nearly at that level. So I'll make an example is like from what I know, some background information, there used to be a grocery chain over here in Chicago called Dominic's, and they've been around for a very long time. I think maybe even close to 100 years or even over 100 years. But recently they went out of business and they got replaced, and now there's a new grocery chain that's become very popular called Mariano's now. And what I heard was Dominic's, the CEO of Mariano's, used to be like one of the higher ups in Dominic's. I'm not sure if he was the CEO or if he was one of the people that were like, right under the CEO. But he was basically one of the higher ups in Dominic's, and he didn't like the way that Dominic's was conducting their business, and he felt that he could do it much better. And he made a statement that saying, I'm going to put Dominic's out of business. I'm not sure if they fired him or if he quit, but he eventually ended up leaving Dominic's, and then he did exactly that. He created Mariano's, and then he pretty much put Dominic's out of business. Dominic's went out of business, and he created a new grocery chain, which is at a much higher quality level than Dominic's, and now that's the popular one. It's called Mariano's. So, that's an example of somebody who was able to create something new because he's overqualified. Now, there's another aspect where people want to do their own thing, but then they're underqualified. These might be the people that just basically, high school's too hard for them, so then they just become high school dropouts. And then they do their own thing, and they don't become successful. And a lot of times that is the case. It's not that, hey, it's not true that everybody that graduates from high school is going to be successful, because the high school degree is just that. It's just a high school degree. It doesn't really mean too much. But at the same time, people that are unable to even get the high school degree, there's even less of a chance of them being successful because they couldn't even meet the basic requirements. It's understandable when somebody is in high school and he's just an overachiever, or he's somebody that's just beyond like the average. So then he just had to skip grades and go right into college because high school is just too easy for him. So rather than dropping out, he ends up skipping grades. So maybe at the age of 16, he ends up becoming like a sophomore in college because the high school stuff is just too easy for him. But then there's the other people who it's really hard for them in high school, and then they end up having to drop out. And there's even less of a chance of these individuals being successful because they can't even meet the basic requirements. So the same thing goes with college. Some people, they get the bachelor's degree, and just because you get a bachelor's degree doesn't mean that you're automatically intelligent, that you're automatically going to be successful. It's just one of the attributes of successful people to be able to get an education and go beyond the basics. Not only did they get the high school degree, but they actually even ended up getting the bachelor's degree. They would surpass the associate's degree. So then there's a higher chance of them becoming successful. Doesn't guarantee that they're going to be successful, but there's a higher likelihood. And then there's the people that go to college and they can't handle the workload, and then they quit. So they drop out of college. Now, doesn't mean that everybody that drops out is going to be unsuccessful, but the likelihood, the percentage-wise, is that there's a greater chance that they will be unsuccessful because they did drop out. But it doesn't mean that for everybody. But basically, there's just a higher percentage rate of success for the people that continue their education. So somebody who basically went, showed that, hey, college is just too easy. It's not challenging me enough, and I'm gonna do my own thing and just get out of here quick and create wealth right away. I don't need college. You know, an example would be somebody like Bill Gates. He's he's the richest person in the world, and he's known to be the one who just dropped out of college, and he's just like, I don't need to waste my time here. I'm beyond what they're trying to teach me. I'm going to create my own company and I'm going to build wealth. He ends up becoming the richest person in the world. But that is a very small percentage of people. He's like 1 in 1 billion, probably, or even more, 1 in 5 billion. Most of the people that drop out of college will not be as successful than if they did complete college. Okay. And that's just something where it's going to be clear. Okay, so when I bring it back to the martial arts, it's the same concept. It's like somebody who joins a martial arts school, whatever style it might be. Say it's, Wing Chun. He joins a Wing Chun school, and that's the style that he practices. And then he trains for 3 months, and then he drops out, and then he claims, I'm just going to do my own thing because what they're teaching is just too easy for me, and I'm going to do my own thing. Or he just drops out of there and then goes into another school, say it's a kickboxing club, he joins there for 3 months and be like, they don't have anything more to teach me, so let me drop out of there and let me go to a taekwondo school. So they just keep going, jumping from all these different schools to schools, thinking that they're somehow special and great because, they are somehow beyond the school of which they're attending. But in actuality, they're just dropouts. They're not self-disciplined. Basically, what I'm boiling it down to is a lot of people are not self-disciplined. And because they're not self-disciplined, not everybody could just do their own thing. Because in order to do your own thing, you need to be very self-disciplined. Like, rather than going to school 5 days a week and studying 8 hours a day, each, 5 days a week for a period of 28 years, somebody's gonna, could be like, well, I'm 16 years old, I'm just gonna drop out of high school and just do my own thing. And then his own thing is playing video games for 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, never reading a book, never writing any essays, never developing his intelligence. That's somebody that's undisciplined, and it's gonna be the rare person who's gonna be able to drop out and be like, what, this is just too easy for me, so I'm gonna have to go beyond this and do my own thing. And in the martial arts, it's not that many people could do that. And a lot of people, I think, claim that, especially the people that have been exposed to Bruce Lee's teachings, they want to just jump the ship right away before they're even ready. They're trained for a couple years somewhere, and all of a sudden they think they could just do their own thing. They think they could just create their own style and just have their own school and just they just know the science of everything. It doesn't come that easy. It takes decades, to master something in which to be able to essentially do your own thing, and create a style or a system or a school that's even more successful than what's well known, to the masses. And not only that, but you have to create your own art, your own system, your own way. And then not only that, but you have to market it and promote it. And that in itself is an enormous task. So you could have the best system in the world. You could have a very great training curriculum, a great martial art that you created. But if nobody knows about it and nobody's learning it, then it doesn't serve its purpose, which is to basically be shared with people so that it can help people grow body, mind, and spirit. But if there's no marketing and nobody knows about it, nobody trains in it, then it's not serving its purpose. So there's a lot on the shoulders of a creator of any style or any art or the owner of any school to basically not only having to create his own system, his own way, but having to promote it and get people to get involved and to train in it and to represent it in, with integrity. And not everybody is built for that. I think some people are more born for that. but it's just not for everybody. You know, just like Mayweather was born into boxing. His father was already a boxer, and then his father immediately got him into boxing as soon as he was born. And that's how I see a martial arts master would have to do that with his children in order for the art to grow and continue to grow for generations. Somebody that was able to do it is the founder of Aikido, and then you got founders of Taekwondo, you know, the founder of Wing Chun, you know, Bruce Lee, the founder of Jeet Kune Do, but then he died unexpectedly, and he pretty much gave up on, you know, mass promoting his art because he probably saw the difficulties in that route. So he decided to just basically express himself as an individual artist. But to mass promote an art, you know, to have the people practice and retain the benefits of the art, and to not only that, but to also create the art on your own is a huge, you know, it's a huge challenge. You know, it's not easy, and just not anybody can just do their own thing. You know, it's like somebody who's like, oh, you know, Apple makes great computers, but you know what? I think I can make it better. And then you just make your own computer. It doesn't happen that easily. It's like, you know, whatever computer that you make will probably be like inoperable, you know, because you just don't have the expertise. You don't have the experience. You don't have the knowledge. You don't have the ability or the talent, you know. And like, just like these wooden dummies back here, you know, if you don't know anything about, you know, that type of woodwork, that craftsmanship, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'll just create my own wooden dummy and do my own thing. Okay, you could do your own thing, but whatever you create is going to be extremely subpar compared to what these professionals has created through many decades of hard work of redefining their abilities, you know. And I see that a lot of people in the martial arts, you know, especially even young people, you know, that just want to jump the ship, you know, like basically claim that, you know, I just do my own thing before they don't even have the basics down. You know, they don't even know how to punch right, kick right. They're not even strong. They're still weak. They're not even flexible. And then they want to just do their own thing, you know. And I see that a lot of times Bruce Lee's teachings could be very much misunderstood and really hinder a person's progress. You know, get a person who's been training somebody in a certain school for 2 years, and then after reading his teachings, now they want to quit and do their own thing before they're even ready. And another thing is just like working as a family, working as a unit, working as a team is always going to be stronger than working as an individual. It's always going to be. And, you know, when you get the help of other people, your parents, your uncles, you know, your brothers, your sisters, your wife, your children, when you get the help of other people involved, essentially the help of your family and eventually even the community, you could build something very great. You know, you can't build a skyscraper with just one person. No, it takes a lot of people to get involved. You know, and then there's going to be the general contractor or the head person that's going to lead these group of people towards developing, you know, a great skyscraper. You know, something as tall as a Sears Tower. It doesn't just happen with one person. And just even with a movie can't be created just by one person. There needs to be a lot of people come together to create something great. And it's the same thing with any, you know, new martial arts style or art that's promoted to the masses. There has to be a lot of people coming together to promote this art, to be a new way to practice and follow. It can't just happen by one person alone. You know, so every single martial art master, entrepreneur is going to need the help of the people under him to help bring this art, you know, to the public in order to become recognized and available for the individuals out there to practice. You know, and not everybody's meant to do that. You know, it's just like asking everybody that you know, where do you work? And almost everybody's going to say, oh, I work for this company, I work for that company. Some people work for successful companies. Some people work for companies that are not so successful and they're looking for new opportunities. But mostly 95% 5%, 99% of the people out there will be working for another company. Very few people will be like, you know what, I'm self-employed and I'm an entrepreneur. And even if you do meet people that are self-employed and entrepreneurs, a lot of times they're not that successful, because to do something on your own is going to be extremely difficult, and it takes many years, many decades to build your company up, your business up to the point where it is successful enough to the point where you could essentially hire, your family members and pay them, or hire other people from the outside to help the company grow. So I see the same thing with the martial arts, is that there's already so much lack of passion from the people for the martial arts that the percentage of people out there that actually practice is a very small percentage. And that small percentage of people, there's going to be very few within that small percentage that are even capable, or even have the abilities to create their own way, to do their own thing with competency. Anybody could draw a picture, but not anybody could paint or draw like some of the greatest artists out there that have ever lived. Like Vincent van Gogh or Michelangelo or Picasso, or these well-known artists out there, and it's the same thing with any art, no matter if it's singing, dancing, rapping, and just like the martial arts, anybody could say, oh, I'll just do my own thing, but who could actually do their own thing, and be great at what he does, a true master. And if the person's not a true master, maybe it's better to not do your own thing, but to basically help, another school owner, another master, help his school grow, help his art expand through your hard work by working together. Not everybody could be the president of the United States. There's only one position, one president, not 50,000 presidents. There's just one, and that's how it is, and some people could help out. One person could be the vice president, somebody else could be a part of the Congress or the board, the executive board, to help the person that's in charge find success. Not everybody's meant to be the head person, and sometimes people got to know when to follow and to be a good follower, opposed to just everybody being like, you know what, I'm going to be the leader. I'm the one who's the best, and I'm going to just do my own thing. And then everybody just does their own thing. Everybody creates their own business, and then everybody just goes out of business because nobody's working together to have any real direction to create success. And I see that Bruce Lee's his ways, he has great teachings, but a lot of times, these teachings can be misunderstood and really hinders a person's path or growth. Basically, it's almost like forcing a plant to grow when it's not ready, and then you just end up killing the plant. Or like throwing a child out there at the age of 2 to go fend himself. He's gonna die. Even a child takes not just 18 years. 18 years is not even enough time, because they just graduated high school. To graduate college, they're gonna be 21, 22, and then they gotta go to work. Gotta get some work experience. By the time they even get their life settled in and even being able to make any sort of money or to create any type of success, they got to be at least around 30 years old or something like that. And that's 30 years under a household, under some guidance. And then these people practice martial arts for a couple months, a couple years, and all of a sudden they think that they could just do their own thing. No, it's not like that. Like I said, you think a child could just all of a sudden just do his own thing just because, he's 2 years old? No. Like, basically, that's what I see. I think there's a lot of disrespect when it comes to the martial arts. People think that, I could just get just as good as this person that's been practicing 20 years, even though I've only practiced for 2 years. I'm just as good because I could do this, this, and this. It's not like that. It's not just, it doesn't come so easy. It takes a lot of hard work and people need to respect that. Just like the other professions out there, like being a doctor, a lawyer, and things like that, or a judge, or a police officer, or being the president of the United States, it doesn't just take 2 years of training. Like, it takes like decades and decades to get to the point where you're like really, really good at what you do. Or even being an electrician, or a contractor, a carpenter, or a mechanic. It takes decades and decades of experience in order to be a master. You can't just, practice for a couple years, read a few books. Oh, I know the Tao, I know Zen, I know meditation, I know all about Bruce Lee, I know about this, I know about that, and now I'm a master. I'm a sensei. I'm a Sifu. I'm a grandmaster. I created this art. I create this way. When in actuality, you're just basically looking around at all these other videos on the internet and stealing ideas from everybody and just plagiarizing everything, and then just making it seem like you created it when you did it. You're just stealing from other people's creations. I see a lot of that going on. And really, it's really, to me, a sad thing. I think people need to really humble themselves and just basically train. Stop trying to teach. Just train. And just be the best that you can as a student. A humble student. A real student. That's going to help a real master promote his art to the masses. To not jump the ship before you're even ready and then create something completely false, advertise it to the public as if you know everything or you're so great when you're not. When you're just an amateur. And then people get this mistaken understanding that you're a master when you're not. And then you end up misguiding people. And creating worse for the society. So that's my feedback on it. It's just something I just can't, started thinking about, at this point in my life, at the age of 34.